Hello everybody, my name is Moss and welcome back to my island Wild's End. Today I'm going to continue working on the big overgrown library in the northwest corner of the island, and specifically I'll be working more around the museum and building a sort of research station that extends onto the peninsula. So by the way, I recustomized these bookshelves so they're dark brown instead of the regular brown. So just wanted to mention that, and these are a bunch of items that I've set aside for this build, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I wanted something behind these bookshelves that would continue to frame this entrance and make it a little higher and more enclosed. So I went with these Turkey Day garden stands, but I'm not totally sure how I feel about them. I put some fossils on top, but I did two different ones because I didn't have two of either of them. So I'm gonna change this eventually, but not in this video. Also, you just saw me add a gap in the stone flooring so I can plant a tree there. Just in keeping with the overgrown and kind of abandoned theme, I want to have trees and plants sort of sprouting up from cracks and holes in the flooring. Yeah, here I'm just continuing this terraforming that I started last time, but honestly, don't put much stock in this because I have no idea what I'm doing or what my goal is. I'm trying to have room for both Bones and Dobie's houses, but I'm also thinking of incorporating a waterfall or something in here, so I'm just messing around with these cliffs and I'll see what ends up sticking. Yeah, this is the moment when I give up on the landscaping for now and I start working on the peninsula, which is where the research center for the museum will be. Does anyone else just constantly have their pockets full while you're building and you have to just drop stuff everywhere? Because my island is just covered in random dropped items that couldn't fit in my inventory. Also, I do have to acknowledge that the farm area in front of my house is totally different than it was in the build that I posted for it, and that's because I ended up not liking it anymore and I completely redid it. And actually, even since recording this video, I redid it again, so now it looks completely different. So that area and the flower market and the entrance have all been giving me kind of a hard time, but I think I'm getting close to being satisfied with them. And so, as usual, I had literally no plan going into this area. I just had a bunch of items that I wanted to use, and I just sort of went for it, so there will, of course, be some trial and error here. Again, this terraforming, I don't know what I'm doing here or why. I'm a mystery to myself. Maybe I'll end up like putting Dobie's house in this little corner, but it's really small. Like I really don't know what I was going for here, and I'm definitely gonna have to rework this area a little bit. At this point, I really felt like everything I was trying with these bookshelves here just didn't look right, and then I remembered that I needed an incline to go up to this third level anyway, so I started to really rearrange this part of the library. So a couple days actually went by in real life between the footage you just saw and what's rolling now. So I made a few minor adjustments off camera, and the incline is built now. I was really like uninspired with this area right around the museum with these. It just has these bookshelves framing it. But I was just thinking about it and mulling it over for a couple days, and I came back with much more of a plan. And I think it turns out pretty good in the end, at least for now. Yeah, I asked my girlfriend, like, I showed her this area right outside the museum, and I was like, how do I make this look better? And she suggested extending the stone flooring so it like wraps around the sides of the museum instead of just being in front of it. And so that's what I did, and I do think it looks a lot better this way. As soon as I found this piano in the store or wherever I found it, I had this vision of like a piano on the beach. And I actually thought it worked great here because this little beach by the museum is like, I'm imagining it as like a kid's place where they take little classes about art or music or science, like little museum classes. And this works really well, I think. And I'm really glad I got this sudden inspiration for like a mini outdoor classroom is how I'm thinking of it. Alright, y'all, it's looking like it's about to storm in my game, so I guess this is a good place to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this installment of the big library build, and I will be back soon with more videos. Bye-bye!